What's up, AfterBuzzers and Bold Type fans? We are back talking about Season 3, Episode 8, Revival. Adena is back. Is Katina ready to get back into a relationship? I am so excited to talk about that. Also, Jane has finally solidified these interviews, and Sutton is getting closer to taking and accepting the things that Richard has given her. I cannot wait to discuss all that and more right after this.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Welcome back, Karla.
I'm back.
Happy Tuesday, guys.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, how was your vacation?
It was awesome. You guys, I was gone last week. I was in Costa Rica, like running away from monkeys, trying to find sloths and ziplining through the jungle, which was amazing.
Well, that sounds like so much fun.
Definitely recommend it.
Probably way more fun than my last week has been. But how are you guys? How are you doing? Make sure if you're joining us in the chat, please make sure you're letting us know your thoughts. We are in there. We will hopefully be able to chat with some of you guys and we can bring you into this conversation. Lots to discuss this episode. We are missing Krista today. Krista, we miss you. She's not feeling well. We hope you feel better. So please hit her up on social media. Send her your well wishes. I'm your host, Nasta, and I am joined by Karla Beltran, the one and only.
Hi, guys. I'm trying to fix everything.
News and gossip queen.
Welcome
back.
I missed you guys.
yeah.
Last week was like kind of lonely without you.
When you miss a show, it feels like you've been gone for a month almost.
It does. I came back
crazy.
and I was like, oh my gosh, I've been gone for like 2 weeks. But really, it's only, I was here the week before.
It's crazy. Happy to be back. Happy to have you back. And let's jump right in. Yes. So, Kat finally is happy, as per usual, and then Adena steps right back in and just so happens to be at a gallery opening.
Yeah.
How do you feel about first, before we realize that Kat and Adena might be trying to give this a second shot, how do you feel about Adena reaching out and Kat actually wanting to hang out with her? Do you think that this should be happening? Do you think that Kat should be pushing her away? What do you feel?
So many questions, so little time. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so first of all, I just want to point out the fact that, like, it's so funny because I feel like whenever you get off a relationship and you start to move on, the moment you start to move on is when, like, your ex decides to reappear and make an entrance. And I just thought it was, like, not the greatest timing because I feel like Kat and Tia are moving forward and doing so great. So, in purposes of, like, Kat and Tia's relationship, I'm here for them and for their benefit. But I was kind of surprised that Kat wanted to see Adena after the fact that she basically left her in Paris. You know, it was kind of one of those things like, I don't know if she should be seeing her again only because she's not single. And that's like kind of how I feel about it. I think like if she were single, then maybe it would be like okay. But since she is just like kind of starting to have this new relationship with somebody who also lives in New York, because right now we know that Adena's here, but she's only here like temporarily. She's not actually here for a long term. So I don't know that it would be worth her jeopardizing her new relationship with Tia for Adena.
That's such a great point that you bring up, because it's never okay to be dating someone and then go hang out with your ex, you know, and especially if you're trying, like, and especially because Kat is the one that's broken down the walls for Tia, so it would be so awful of her to be like, hey, by the way, I like you, make her open and be vulnerable, and then be like, oh, by the way, I'm still in love with my ex. Yeah. Which we all kind of saw coming. We're not blindsided. We saw that Adena was going to pop up sooner or later, and of course it's when she's happy again, but this just really worries me because Tia has been very vulnerable and very fragile in you know, really opening up to her feelings about Kat. And I just I won't feel like it's fair if Kat totally leaves her in the dark and just goes right after Adena after all of that. Like, Adena needs to do a little bit more groveling, don't you think?
Yeah, and do you actually think that Kat would just kind of basically fall back into Adena's arms?
I think so.
Really?
At the end of this episode, I really feel like she's opening the door for maybe not a full-on relationship, but definitely for her to come back into her life, whether it be for a friend or more than a friend.
Well, basically, they're kind of already friends, from what she said, that they've been But that's what
Jane everybody says about their exes. Like, oh, we're friends. You're never just friends with your ex. You have crossed a boundary. You can never go back to being friends.
This is true.
I mean, that's just my opinion, though. Like, I feel like there's just, like, this sexual or, like, some type of chemistry that you can't deny. And
that will always be there.
That will always be there because you did love them. It's like you're always going to love your exes, no matter if, like, obviously you're not in love with them now, but you're always going to have some weird feelings for them. But I don't know. It's not like, I don't know. This is, I feel like, a very heavy topic that everybody's like, can you be friends with your ex? Can you not be friends? I feel like this is very situational. So it depends on who you dated last. But in this situation with Adena and Kat, I just don't feel like they can just be friends. Like,
or that they should be friends.
Right. Adena opened up so many different awakenings in Kat to where she really learned about herself, and I feel like with those type of things that Adena brought out of her, I just really don't think that they could go to just being friends and there'd be no sexual chemistry
or no chemistry at all.
Right. Like there's definitely going to always be something there, but I don't know, I just feel like we definitely need some answers and explanation.
I think we need some boundaries.
Yeah,
because I think right now that, like, also when I was a little bit upset, I think that when Kat and Adena and Tia had this moment at the elevator.
Awkward.
Super awkward.
Very awkward.
Super awkward. And then, like, the second of all, she didn't introduce Tia as, like, her partner. She just says, she's like, oh, this is just my manager.
That is the number one no.
Yeah.
When you're dating someone.
Yeah.
Is to introduce them as a friend or, like, nothing than what you are. Because they're more, that's not just your manager. You're dating her.
Yeah.
But I guess it's, like, awkward.
It's not, you can't just like, oh, this is my new partner.
Yeah, literally. I don't know. I don't know. This whole situation is going to be very sticky. I'm interested to see how it plays out. I was also very interested about how Jane straight up asked, straight up told Adena that Kat was dating someone. Don't you feel like that was something that Kat needed to tell her? You know what I mean? When Adena and Jane were sitting down.
When they were talking together?
Yeah. Jane was the one that said that she's in a new relationship. I get it. She's trying to, like, make her friend look better and that she's totally fine. But I feel like that's not her information to tell.
Yeah. First of all, it wasn't her information to tell. And also, it wasn't her information to tell Kat how, like, Adena felt as well. Because I feel like that's also one thing that they crossed the line for.
See, that I disagree with.
Really?
Yes, because I feel like she needed to know.
But she was going to find out anyway.
How?
Because her and Adena were going to meet up no matter what.
But I don't think Adena would have told her exactly how she felt, because Adena is kind of closed off to where she would have been like, I see that you're happy now. I don't want to test any of that. I don't want to cross any boundaries.
Really? I feel like she wouldn't do that. I feel like she would tell her no matter what.
I don't think so. So I feel like Jane was the catalyst in the situation. Yeah. And she was the reason that they really went a little bit deeper than they should have. And I think that's a piece that she could have left out of the puzzle. Because now that Adena knows that Kat's with somebody, I feel like it almost makes her want her more. You know, you want what you can't have.
I guess so.
So
this is true.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
I agree with you. I think that, like, I don't think it was right for Jane to basically be like, oh yeah, she's taken. And, like, I understand where Jane was coming from, because she is hurt at the fact that her friend was very hurt for a while. So she's like, oh yeah, she's happily taken and, like, you know, living the dream without
it's like she's trying to, like, make her look better. So right. It's like, you know, it's like the best.
Like, sometimes you do that for your friends.
Right. You're like, she's actually awesome.
Like, she's doing great. Yeah. She's thriving through life.
I guess you're right. So it wasn't that big of it. I mean, it's probably a better thing but now it's, like, confusing because you don't know what Adena's intentions are. Are they pure, or is it clearly you want what you can't have?
No. I mean, I think Adena will always have feelings for Kat. Even when they look at each other, it's kind of like...
I know. As much as I'm like, oh, but I love Tia and Kat together, when they were looking at each other through that glass door, I was like, oh, they love each other.
Yeah.
They really do.
They do.
Oh, man. Well, hey, guys, before we move on to our next topic, we wanted to say thank you so much for making us the ESPN of TV Talk. For us to continue and grow, we need you. We need your help. If you're on YouTube right now, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. And if you're on iTunes, please give us a 5-star rating. But no matter where you are, leave us a comment so you can get involved in the conversations. Being a part of AfterBuzz TV has meant so much to all of us, and we truly appreciate you supporting us and doing what we love. And don't forget to tell your friends and keep watching and enjoying our shows. And please, if you are on iTunes podcast, please comment, give us 5 stars, let us know what you think about the show. Also, we're live right now if you're listening on YouTube or watching on YouTube, and we want to know what you guys feel about these topics that are going on. And if you're listening and you're on your car ride on your way to work, hello, and I hope you have a great day.
Before we move on,
Yes.
since we are talking about our chat, I wanted to point out 2 comments. One is by Carolyn Perkins, and she said, I don't know, I just think that Kat and Adena are just too different to have a lasting relationship. I really like Tia. She seems much more real and grounded, which I totally agree.
That is a great point. But also, too, to say that, it's like, but is it kind of like opposites attract?
Opposites do attract, unfortunately.
They actually really do.
They really do.
But it's like weird because it's like you're opposite in certain aspects, but then most of the time there are similarities with the people that are so opposite.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay.
I mean, they at least have to have common interests.
Right, exactly.
And then the next comment, which I really thought it was funny, was by David Phoneville. He said, I must be a different kind of person. I don't want nothing to do with my ex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, usually because it's like they're usually your ex for a reason. It's very rare.
Well, there's a lot of pain
circumstances.
that comes with that, you know?
Because usually one person got their heart broken. It's usually the person that didn't get their heart broken. They're like, yeah, we can be friends. And you're like, no, you broke my heart. I don't want to be friends with you.
Like, I don't even want to see you.
Right. And then you get a text. You're like, okay, hi.
Exactly.
You know, everybody's been there. But moving on into Jane's world, I knew there was something that this book was going to bring up, but it wasn't as big as I thought it was going to be. So, what were we going to say? Yeah.
Okay, I was a little bit confused.
Okay.
Because in the beginning, Alex was saying, oh, you know, his writing is like really
Raunchy,
out there.
and
And it's like, wow, it just seems like, it made it seem like he was a experienced man and he was writing from experience, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, like, what's in this book? What did he write? What are the experiences? Like, you know, and then he ends up with the story saying how, like, he writes from a point of, like, sometimes some writers are better at writing from a point of view that's not theirs. So I'm like, are you just trying to make Jane feel better to think that this, like, he wasn't writing from experience? Or, because really, we don't know.
Yeah, I think he was trying to make her feel better and also realizing that there are different perspectives in writing. But also, like, there's got to be some truth to this book. Because how come it's, like, it's no coincidence that all these, I don't know, like, because usually your vulnerabilities come out when you're in love and you really like somebody. And I feel like Pinstripe's book started, like, actually, I don't remember if it was finished before Jane or while they were dating. And then that's when it was starting to get published. But I just feel like he was able to pull some of that, like, that from their relationship. But what I want to know, too, is do you think that Jane cares and is bothered by this, or do you think that she's okay with it? Because his text messages her text messages versus the emotion on her face while she was texting Pinstripe did not match.
No, they were completely different. Should she be worried? I think she's worried about something else besides the book.
Okay.
Because when they were talking about the other writer, and she was like, oh, I was also an English major, she said that the writer had an affair. And I think she's just more worried about the fact that, like, maybe he's having an affair with somebody than actually what's in the book.
Like, I think she's really struggling with the fact that he's away for 8 months.
Yeah.
And, like, he could cheat on her.
I thought it was 8 weeks.
8 weeks.
Okay.
Not 8 months, sorry. It's basically a whole year.
And not only that, but also, like, she didn't ask him to move in. So she's probably like, did I maybe miss my chance to, like,
so I think
be
you're
with
right.
him, you know? So I think it's just more, I think it kind of comes with it, you know, like when you're in a relationship and then you're like long distance and then you text your partner and then they don't text you back for a couple hours
You're
and it's
like,
like
"What's
nighttime, like
going
it's
on?"
like your mind goes in places it should not go, because half of the time they were taking a nap or they were watching a movie.
Wait,
or
that is so real and spot on. That is hilarious.
it's like literally it happens, and like especially if you're not used to being apart from each other, even more. It's just kind of like your mind travels in places where it shouldn't, and you should just trust your partner. And I think right now, because of this book and because of what she's been reading, she's just like, her mind is going to places she shouldn't be. But I feel like, in all honesty, I don't think that she has anything to worry about.
Yeah, I don't think so either, but I think that she might, because we've seen all these couples that are super happy and perfect right now. We knew something was going to happen sooner rather than later, and I feel like she might actually self-destruct this one because she's going to get in her head about things.
Yeah.
And now with this book and everything happening, but we could be totally wrong, but I feel like she might get a little in her head about it.
I think so. Yeah.
But she does have a lot to distract her right now because she's working on this story and the victims are willing to speak, which is a big deal. They've been working on this for about like 4 episodes now.
Yeah.
So this is a big deal. And, you know, they're all, you know, they're admitting to abuse. They're going to break their NDA. But what's very interesting too is that Jacqueline wants them to, wants Jane to finish up the stories first so then she can speak. What direction do you see this going? Obviously, the Bold Typewriters do a really great job of giving us storylines of empowerment and progression and really showing that what you can do if you step outside of the box. So I can only see this going in a great light, but I feel like they keep, you know, sprinkling in little things like watch your back, are you okay? Make sure you're okay. So I'm just worried, like, is there any possible chance that Jane could like lose her job over that? Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm confident in this story bringing out the best of this situation and making sure this lady goes down, this photographer goes down, but also like they're sprinkling in things that are making me worried.
Yeah, and I think that's like supposed to be on purpose, because if everything were to go smoothly, we would be like, oh, something has to go wrong. It's too good to be true. So I think that's why they're kind of bringing all these problems along the way.
Right.
So at the end, like we'll have like a favorable ending.
Okay.
Because I don't think that they would spend like 4 to basically 5 weeks, because next week will be the 5th week, on like one specific subject.
Right.
But I think the reason why they're having such a big emphasis in it is because like harassment in the workplace can happen from anybody, you know.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a male. It could also be a female, and
Right.
I think that it's really big on them to kind of like point that out as well, which I thought it was like, it was a great point. So I think that's why, like, I think the emphasis on that is much bigger than like if they're going to get the story.
Right.
Yeah, but I have a feeling that they will get the story out. Yeah, especially because like they've already gotten this far with the photos and like everything.
Yeah.
I think the moment where we're going to be the most scared is when Pamela actually comes into the office to give a statement, because that's probably when we're going to hit like a rock or something, and then it's going to be like a bumpy ride, but then the rest of it should be like, okay.
Yeah. Ugh. Gonna be interesting how that one plans out.
I know.
Sutton is thinking that she's not crushing her Julian Grant class. But then, of course, she comes out on top as always. Were we even worried? No.
Yes.
So, you were worried?
No. I worried for her for, like, other things, but not
Yeah. So, something that she was really struggling with this episode was, like, really finding the happy median in having a boyfriend that obviously has money and he can take care of her versus kind of, like, continuing to be the powerhouse boss lady that she is. And it's so hard because if you think about it and you put yourself in those shoes and you're so used to being independent and taking care of yourself, that would be really hard to just take something from somebody.
Yeah.
Like I was like, because I was thinking like, oh, but like, come on, just take it. But then I'm thinking, no, I think I would probably be the same as her and being like, because I'm like one of those people that I don't know how to accept a compliment. I'm like, oh, yeah, thank you. So like I feel like if someone were to give me a $2,500 sewing machine, I'd be like, I can't accept that.
Yeah.
So I think that it was great that it showed her like work through this and figure out why she's having issues with that. and then actually accept it.
Yeah, I think this was a really interesting storyline because Richard and Sutton have been very happily ever after, which has been nice. Except for like last week, obviously they had a couple of things to work out with his dad and his feelings. But it was kind of this episode kind of had me a little frustrated with Sutton actually, and it wasn't necessarily because she wasn't accepting like what he was offering. It's just that she wanted to do it all on by herself, and I understand her because like I'm an only child. I've always done everything by myself. Like I even go eat by myself. Like I like do everything except go to the movies by myself because I go with my mom. But it was just kind of one of those things where like when are you able to accept like help, you know, or how can you ask for help, you know, because even the girls, when she was like, she wanted to buy her sewing machine and her mom asked her for money, and I think it was Kat who offered. She was like, oh hey, like I can buy you a sewing machine, and it wasn't necessarily like out of pity. It was just more of like, oh, like let me help you because I can,
right? And
she was like kind of holding back, and then at the same time it's like when you're in a relationship you need to like kind of work together, and I feel like she wasn't really being like a power, like they weren't really being a power couple.
I think I totally understand what you're saying, because what she was kind of doing is shutting Richard down and not listening to him and hearing him out. Yeah, because what he's saying is like, listen, like just because I can buy you this doesn't mean that you're not good in other ways. Like you help me in more ways than you can possibly understand. And she wasn't hearing that. She was just seeing the gift and not seeing like where it was coming from in his heart, because he's not just gonna like, he understands, and I just think that you're right, and I think that she was just trying to sift through her emotions and really figure out like, how can I fix this, how can I be better, and I'm glad that they did come to a resolution at the end. But what's interesting is her and Richard keep having these types of arguments and discussions of not really agreeing on things. But they keep coming out on top. So, like, I feel like there's an engagement upon us.
I'm so glad you said that, because it brings me to something that I wrote right here. Yeah. Because I think, I don't know if it was Kat or Jane who said it. And Jane said, what if she's her Richard? Or what if she... Yeah. No, Kat said it. What if she's my Richard? Yeah. Is what Kat said to Sutton about Adena. Yeah. And when she said that, I was like... they're going to be together forever.
They
like
totally
it's
are.
Like they cannot not be together forever. Like their relationship has already.
All the couples, like this is 100% one that I would not stand for them not being together.
Yeah, no, I would be destroyed. Like at this point,
I know you would
should have
100% be destroyed.
At this point, they should have just ended it for me in season 1, because now I'm way too emotionally invested in this relationship, so it can't be taken away from me.
Definitely not.
But yeah, once they said that, like, what if she's like my Richard, and it was said again, and I was like, and now they got picked up for season 4, so it's like, okay, where are we gonna go next? Exciting. So
I feel like it's upon us,
right? I like it. I like the idea of it. They've talked a lot about like different things, and they've reached new places in their relationship. In the beginning, it was more kind of like, oh, you know, we're like together, but then now they're finally moved in together, and then they're having real like relationship problems, you know, because when you move in together, it's a whole new different like lifestyle, you know, and then you have different problems like, oh, you know what, like I don't like to do laundry like this, I like to do laundry like that. It's like different ways. So it's really nice to see them already starting to work on problems that are like bigger, because like it just kind of strengthens their relationship so much more.
No, it's true, though, because those are little things that like the nitty gritty things that you don't realize annoy you until like it like goes and you're like, I don't like it that way, you know. But if you just talk about things along the way, it's so much easier. Communication, what a brilliant thing to do. But yeah, I think that kind of wraps up what the girls are going through. It'll be really, I'm interested to see how this storyline with Jane and Jacqueline pans out, because we've been overarching a couple episodes on that. But we're going to get into our bold topics of the week, and Karla is going to take you away with those.
Yes, and then afterwards I will read the chat, you guys.
Perfect.
Afterwards I will read the chat, and then we're gonna have predictions, so you guys can go ahead and write your predictions in here, and I will go ahead and read them out loud.
Perfect.
But our first topic of the evening is meeting your ex's new partner.
Oh gosh.
So how do you think that should go? Do you think it's okay? Like, how would you feel if you had to meet your ex's new partner and you were still not over them?
If I had to meet, because I've like been in a situation where like I've been with my boyfriend and like the ex walks into a bar.
Oh gosh,
And you're like,
so
and then it's like, I'm like living my life doing whatever. And then they're like, oh my gosh, and like pointing them out. And I'm like, okay, like,
yeah.
And it's like awkward because you're like, so do we like go up and say hi?
You're like, hi, this is my new boyfriend.
Right,
Your replacement.
It's so uncomfortable. I think it also depends on the situation, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, I think that it's all relative to whoever.
Is it okay to meet your ex's new boyfriend?
But like, in what circumstance would you have to? That's the thing. Is usually you're never in a position where you have to meet them.
No,
you know what I mean.
But if you were to run into them, would you introduce them like oh hi, this is my.
I've been in that situation and I was not introduced. It was very comfortable.
Fair.
It was like, when people like, people are staring at you.
Yeah.
It's like those kind of situations.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess.
What about you?
Well,
Have you ever been in a situation like this?
nope. My partner, my ex-partner is very far away from here. So
Yeah.
there's no way we'll run into the same bar. But honestly, I don't know that I would be shy or awkward about it. And I think I would just like let my confidence side come out and be like, hi, like I'm Karla. It's a pleasure
But
to
like,
meet
would you
you.
go
And just be
out
like,
of your way to say hi to them? What if it's like it's like one of those things where you don't need to, you have no need to like see or say hi to them. It's like you're just in the same vicinity.
No, I wouldn't go out of my way to say hi.
Okay.
I mean, I would be uncomfortable that they would be like staring the whole time and they're probably like, and I would be like, what are you looking at?
Right.
But if it came to be like, they come up and they talk to you, because sometimes you're at the bar hanging out.
Right.
And then obviously the guy comes up and he wants to order a drink. And then he's like, hey, how have you been? And then the girlfriend, like the new girlfriend pops out of nowhere. And he's just like, oh, hi, I'm great. How are you guys?
So then, are you sure this has never happened to you, Karla? You're explaining things way too clear.
No, but I'm just like thinking out of imagination.
Yeah.
Like if it were to happen to me, I think like I would just probably be like, hi.
Yeah. I feel like the best is just ignore it.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I think it's like, I think you want to leave a good taste in their mouth and be like, oh.
But I feel like there's no possible way of doing that.
No, but like at
Like,
least you could be like, oh, well, at least she was nice and said hi, rather than like.
But the thing is,
you could come off being rude if you didn't say anything.
But then it makes you weird if you were to go up and introduce yourself.
No, but you're not going to go up. Like, that's only if they come up to you.
Oh, okay. Oh, of course. If someone were to come up to me, I would never just like, I would of course say hi, but I thought you were like, go out of your way to say hi to them.
I would run.
I would be like, all right, next place, bye. Okay, next topic. That's a fun one though, because I don't know. I mean, everybody's situations are different, like I said. So
yeah.
You could literally have dated when you were younger and been best friends and been like, yo, that's in the past.
Yeah, and then it would be like, hey, what's up? I'm like the old friend.
Right.
And not mention that
Also,
you're the
too,
ex.
it's like, how specific are we, Because, like, usually dating, sometimes people will be like, oh, I dated them, meaning they went on one date. And some people are like, oh, I dated them, meaning it was 1 year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's really relative, and it can be different in every situation.
Yeah. My next topic was also based in relationships, because we know that Kat and Tia are together.
Yeah.
But are they dating, or are they like girlfriend and girlfriend? Because
They're definitely just dating.
Okay.
It's not exclusive. We had this
It's not
conversation, I
exclusive.
think, last season or 2 seasons ago. Because
can you do we still wait for the question to be asked?
100%.
We still want the question to be asked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, and this is something where I feel like some people are different, but I feel like you're dating, you're exclusive, then boyfriend, girlfriend. It's like you go through the stages of talking about
So
those
when you're
things.
dating is like when other people, well, I don't know how.
So it's like when
other
you're
places.
dating, it's like that means you're going on dates. You're dating and you're like seeing your like,
Your options.
Your options, all the fish in the pond. And then you like start having those conversations of like, are we exclusive? Like, what are we? Are you seeing other people? And then usually right after you have that conversation, that's when
You actually have the conversation?
It either ends
Okay.
or you end up being boyfriend, girlfriend.
How long do you have to date exclusively to actually become?
I don't think
girlfriend?
there's any timeline on dating. It just matters of like if you've met the right person.
I got
Because usually if you meet the right
This is true.
person, you literally are like, wow, I want to spend every moment with you. I don't know why I feel this way. This is crazy. And then it just works.
Yeah. And then you just continue dating each other.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. That's what I think. But what do you think?
I don't know, actually. I haven't dated in a long time. And when I dated my last boyfriend, I actually didn't even know I was his girlfriend. He was just like, he basically told me, it was like we were getting ready and I knew that I was going to meet his parents because we were going to go on a trip. And then I was like, oh, by the way, like, what, can I hold your hand? Do I call you? Like, am I sleeping in the guest room? Like, what's going on? Like, I legitimately asked. And they're like, what do you mean? We've been together for the past, like, 4 months. And I was like, oh, good to know. Like, thanks for letting me know.
That's so funny.
So it was kind of one of those things where, like, I think it's good for you to let your partner know whether you're together or not, so that they're not, like, I don't know. In the dark, or, like, luckily I was just, like, seeing him and, like, it was fine. But that
So you
could
never
not
had to talk about being an exclusive? You were just like...
No, we never had to talk about, like...
Usually you don't have to talk about being exclusive if you, like the person. Like, it's just a known thing.
Especially if you guys are, like, hanging out every other day.
Right.
And, like...
But usually you kind of have that conversation, like, are you seeing anybody else? No. Are you seeing anybody else? No. Okay, cool. We're on the same page. Like, everybody has that conversation, probably.
You kind of have to at some point. You know, you can't go on, like, more than, I think, 3 months. You can't go on, like, more than 3 months.
I feel like if you're dating other people within 3 months, then you're not looking for something serious.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Or you haven't met the right person. But like I said, it's all relative. What I'm thinking is my opinion. So everybody else's is probably like 17 different versions of something different. I don't know.
Okay, the last topic is knowing when to accept help.
That's a hard one.
Yeah.
Because it's like usually you don't know when to accept help, because if you're a fighter, you're going to continue to, like, fight for what you think you need to do to be successful. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I feel like in Sutton's situation, I feel like it's like I don't like to feel weak, and I think Sutton doesn't like feel weak. So, like, I feel like if someone's being like, let me do this for you, that makes you feel like you're weak. But it's not. Like, if someone wants to do something for you, it's because they want to do something out of the bottom of their heart, which is funny, because, like, I'm the person that, like, wants to give help. Like, I want to give, and I want to make sure they're happy. So it's like when someone tries to do it to me, I don't know how to accept it. But that's just how I am. You know what I mean? Sense. So I feel like there's no real number on, like, or, like, you know, timeline on when you should accept help, but I think you should realize when someone's doing something out of the goodness of their heart versus when someone's doing something in, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That makes sense. I guess I hadn't even really thought about it in that way. Because, like, for me, it's easier to accept help if it's, like, basically, like, not necessarily given to me, but if it's like offered, then I'm probably more willing to accept it. My hardest problem is like asking for help when I need it. And like, I'm like, nope, I'm invincible. I'm not going to ask for help. Like, I should be able to do this by myself. And I think asking for help is a little bit more difficult, but I hadn't realized that, like, also knowing how to accept help is like, it should be like something mutual, you know? But accepting help is also... you have to know the person well, and it depends also on what they're helping you with, you know? But yeah, accepting help is a little bit easier for me, but it's also basically kind of hard. Because, like, I know that some people do help because they want to, and others do it out of, like, what they're going to get out of it.
Right.
So it's always kind of like...
for you, what can you do for me kind of thing.
Yeah. So my head always kind of goes there, but then sometimes
it's like, what do you want? And then it's like, maybe that shouldn't be your first thought.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that was fun. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We want to talk to you guys in the chat really quick. Let's talk about some things, and then if once Karla wraps that up, we're going to get into some predictions.
Yes.
So did you want to, was there some things
I
that you
saw? I was actually going through. So you guys, thank you so much for being so active in the chat. I love this. One thing that Carolyn Perkins pointed out is, I wonder if Jacqueline is pushing this and these women to talk to make up for her not coming forward after what happened to her. Which I think she kind of based it off, you know, because she did talk during the photo shoot about her past experience. So I think it could be, this is maybe her way of helping.
I think that, we saw Jacqueline go through a really kind of dark time in her life. And what was hard for her is that when she didn't come out, like it happened to other people or something. You know what I mean? So I think she wants to stop this cycle from happening. If she has the power to stop that cycle, she's going to do it. And she's going to protect these girls as much as she can. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see that too. The next 2 comments are about Richard and basically the boyfriend and girlfriend help. One of them is by David Fonville, and he's saying that the only problem I got with someone helping their boyfriend or girlfriend out is if they were to get into an argument and then one will try to help,
bribe them.
Yeah, bribe and be like, oh, like they throw it to their face, like, oh, well, I did this for you, which is also another thing.
I hate that. Where I hate it. You do something nice for someone, or and you think someone's doing something nice for you, and they're like, well, I did this for you 3 weeks ago, and you're like, what? You're keeping tabs? That's not how this works.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other comment was from Dan Snow. Hi, Dan. Thank you for joining us. And it says that at first I didn't like Richard because I thought he was going to be like another Mr. Big character from Sex and the City. But he ended up being a good guy and a cool character, which I totally agree. In the beginning, not to say that like I haven't loved Richard and Sutton from the beginning, but there was the point where I was like, wait, Richard is like much older than her, and like he's rich, so it's like
right. You had like some skepticism.
Yeah, your mind kind of went there, and then you find out that he's a wonderful guy, and you're like, oh my gosh, how are you still single?
I know, right? Literally, so crazy. Well, you guys are great. We love you, and thank you guys so much for joining us as always. Let's get into some quick predictions before we wrap it up.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV prediction.
Alrighty, Karla, all you.
My prediction might shock you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. My prediction is that Kat is actually not going to win the election.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we forgot to talk about Kat's election video. Which, when they were talking about like...
Oh, yeah, when they were talking, they were saying the real Kat.
To be honest, that video was not, to me, did not seem bad. It was like she did normal thing. Like, it wasn't anything that, like, you haven't heard. She was talking about partying social media. Like, yeah, she's been a 20-year-old in her life.
Yeah.
It just so happens that older people don't have a lot of social media to back it up. You know what I mean? Like, let's not be... And, like, this
is so true.
To me, those didn't seem, like, big... Like, it wasn't like she did anything bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways, okay, predictions.
I came up with another like topic, but I'll save that topic for next week.
Yeah.
I actually don't think that she's going to win because when we watch the previews, Adena's like, oh well, you have to sacrifice you might have to sacrifice something for you to like win this, and she says like you might have to sacrifice Scarlet, and we all know, or at least we all hope, that she's not going to leave Scarlet. Like I think the whole show itself is done at Scarlet. Yeah. And this might just be a way for her to like grow within Scarlet and grow herself. But I don't think that she's going to win.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. I think that Jane is going to be leveraged to a promotion after the story. I think that she's going to get a more hands-on role, whatever that may be. So, and Jacqueline has mentioned a couple times how she's trying to steal Jane back from the digital platform or the .com back to the literary magazine. So I'm thinking that this article is going to have something to do with that, and Jacqueline's going to give her a bigger role so they can keep her solely just for the magazine.
I like that prediction.
Thank you. And then that's all I got for today because I feel like there's so much going on with like Kat that I don't even have any predictions. It's just like I just need to like let one more episode like lie out as seeing where she goes.
Do you think Kat will cheat on Tia with Adena?
Oh yeah, I think they're gonna at least kiss.
Really?
I don't think that Kat can resist Adena. She loves her too much. And then she's gonna have to tell Tia, and then Tia's officially gonna quit. Oh my gosh. Okay, prediction. Bing, bing, bing. Okay, so I think that what's gonna happen is Kat's gonna kiss Adena, which then is gonna lead her to tell Tia. Tia will cancel being her campaign manager, and then she'll lose, and then Adena's gonna leave, and then Kat's gonna be like, oh my gosh, what did I do?
No, she should... Wait, and
because Adena's going back to Paris.
Yeah, Adena's going back.
So if she kisses Adena, it's all gone.
But she might kiss Adena like after the fact, because we do get to see
After she breaks up with Tia? No, I think
no. After she loses the campaign.
Oh, gosh.
You know why? Because when we see the preview, they're like Tia and Kat are together.
That makes me so sad for Tia, though. Like, she's been so vulnerable and open with Kat this whole time.
Yeah.
And Kat knows she's been in her shoes before.
So are we team Kadena or Katia?
Ooh, that's good.
I like the Katia. Katia.
Tia.
So you guys let us know in the comments. Are you team Kadena or team Katia?
Because we love them both and not really sure which way we're going to go.
You know, I love them both, but right now I'm really going for team Katia.
I'm team Katia too, only because like she's been so supportive and is there and has opened. She's challenged Kat a lot more than Adena challenged her, I think.
Of course.
Like Adena challenged her different ways, but I think that Tia's really helped show a side of her that she's never seen before and knew that she was capable of.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
This is true.
We will have to wait.
And Tia has been there for her.
Yes, exactly.
And makes her a stronger and better person.
So we will have to wait and see what happens next episode. But please, please, please make sure to comment below. Let us know what you think on social media. And make sure to join us next week in the live chat. We thank you guys and love you so much. In the meantime, Karla, where can they find you on social media?
You guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm your host, Karla Beltran. You can follow me on Instagram at I am Karla Beltran.
And hey guys, Ali Nasta here. Follow me on Instagram at AliGirl. And of course, follow AfterBuzz TV on all social media platforms. We will see you guys next week. Bye!
Ciao!
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.